Good morning, class 12 bio children. Uh, Yesterday we had finished the study of the 8th chapter and the concluding 16th video of chapter Evidences and Theories of Biological Evolution was completed, and you can feel free to ask questions about the 8th chapter. You can also send me your problems and questions on WhatsApp group. Today we are going to study about the evolution of man in the 9th chapter. And in this evolution of human being, we see that the origin of man has baffled or it has confused biologists since the time of Thomas Henry Huxley. He was the first man who made a scientific attempt to explain the origin of man in his book Evidence as to Man's Place in Nature. What was the book, children? Evidence as to Man's Place in Nature. And we are asked these small questions about the contribution of various scientists in the board examination. So you have to learn and memorize this. And this book of Thomas Henry Huxley was published in 1863. There was another great scientist, Charles Darwin. He mentioned that men, monkeys and apes, they have a common ancestor. And this he gave in his book in 1871. And the book was called The Descent of Man and Selection in Relation to Sex. What was the book called, written by Darwin? The Descent of Man, How Man Came to Be, and the Selection in Relation to Sex. Then another scientist who is very famous is Carolus Linnaeus. He gave the scientific name Homo sapiens to man. What is the place of man in the animal kingdom? Man, Homo sapien, belongs to the order primates. As you know, in class 11th you had studied about classification and taxonomy. So in that we had order, we had class, we had kingdom, etc., if you remember, children. So the man or Homo sapien belongs to the order called primates of the class Mammalia. Those animals which feed milk to their young ones are from class Mammalia. And man shares common ancestry with monkeys and apes. The evolutionary history of man has been built up after study of fossils and molecular homology. It shows that there is no known direct line of ancestors of man. If you remember, in the Origin of Life chapter, I had told you that in the Bible, God very specifically writes that man is unique in his features, in his intelligence, because man has been created in the image of God. But these evolution scientists here, they have given their description of evolution based upon their study of the early human ancestors. Also the fossils that were found buried by them in the earth's crust. Early human ancestors. Now, prior to the ape man, prior to man, there was the ape man, and this being was called Dryopithecus. And this Dryopithecus had got several features. This fossil ape was discovered from 20 million years old Middle Miocene and early Pliocene rocks of North Africa and Australia. So this was the location from which the fossil ape was found. We see that this particular ape or the fossil ape was found in the Miocene and early Pliocene rocks. And what is another feature of Dryopithecus? He was supposed to be common ancestor of ape and man. Then another feature we see here is it had frontally broadened jaws and semi-erect posture, large canines, 5 cusps in the molars, and no brow ridges. Arms and legs were of equal length. 4 feet was the height of Dryopithecus. He was 4 feet tall. Then we see another feature of Dryopithecus. The cranial capacity was 500 to 700 cc. They are prognathous. Prognathous means having a projecting lower jaw or chin. So the Dryopithecus were ape-like man which had projecting lower jaw or chin. So they were prognathous. Now what is the difference between man and ape? This is very important from the board point of view, because this question has come many times in the board examination. So please go through this and memorize at least 7 to 10 of these differences. The first difference between man and ape is man leads a terrestrial life. Man walks on the earth, walks on the ground, whereas apes lead arboreal life because they live on trees. Then man walks fully erect after infancy on soles of the feet, whereas the ape walks semi-erect. It does not walk absolutely erect, but semi-erect position on outer ridges of the feet and on the knuckles of hand. It uses both the knuckles of hand and the outer ridges of the feet to walk almost on all 4. But the man walks only on his feet. Now another difference is that the hind limbs of man are more stout and powerful than the forelimbs. Our legs are more powerful than our hands, and they look sturdier and more symmetric. Whereas in apes, the forelimbs are larger, more powerful than the hind wings. Then the fourth difference, in man only pollex is opposable. What is pollex? The thumb is opposable, or it combines with the fingers to hold objects. And we see hallux is not opposable, or the hind limb, big toe, is not opposable in humans. Hence, they are not able to grasp anything. They cannot help in grasping anything with the big toe of our feet. But in apes, both pollex and hallux are opposable. Hence, they are used for grasping things as they climb trees. Then the fifth difference here is that a vertebrate's brain has 2 forward and 2 backward curves. These curves, 2 forward and 2 backward curves, are present in the brain of man. And the lumbar curve, this is curve in the spine at the back, this helps in helping us to stand in erect posture. Whereas in apes, the vertebral column is arched backwards and the lumbar curve is absent. So that is why the apes, they cannot stand fully erect all the time. Another difference, man's head is erect and it's balanced on the neck. Neck is a little longer, whereas the head of the ape is on heavy shoulders and is buried almost between the two shoulders. Then another difference is the foramen magnum. What is foramen magnum? It is the opening at the base of the skull. The foramen magnum in humans in the skull is directed downwards, whereas the foramen magnum in the ape skull is directed backwards, not downwards. Then we see another difference, cranium, which means the brain is inside the skull. So this cranium is rounded with a cranial capacity of about 1450 centimeter cube, or the volume of man's brain is 1415 centimeter cube, whereas the cranium is flattened with a cranial capacity lower than 650 centimeter cube, or the volume of the cranium is 650 centimeter cube in apes. Another difference is in men, the neck muscles are attached below the brain. The neck muscles are attached below the brain box, and this allows more free movement of the head on neck, whereas we see in apes the neck muscles are attached not below the brain, but they are attached to the back of the brain box, and this is why in apes this permits very little movement of the head on the neck. Another difference is in man, sole of the foot lies flat on the ground while walking, whereas in apes the sole of the foot does not lie flat on the ground while walking. Another difference we see in man, the face of man is somewhat flat, and the brow ridges above the eye, they are inconspicuous, or they are not very clearly defined, whereas the face of the ape we see here is protruding out. Can you see here? The face is protruding out, and we see that the face here protrudes out here, and the movement of the head is less on the neck. Then we see that the brow ridges are very prominent. If you see here, the brow ridges are prominent, they are protruding outwards. Then we see here another difference in man, the jaw is small with a prominent chin, whereas in apes jaw is strong without well marked chin. So prominent chin in man and non-prominent chin or no chin in apes. Then we see another difference, anterior premolars. You see the premolars are grinding teeth, if you remember from previous class study. Anterior premolars in lower jaw is small and bicuspid. Can you see here? It is bicuspid with two cusps in humans, whereas the anterior premolar in lower jaw is strong and pointed. Can you see this, children? It is strong and pointed. Then we see there is no diastema between the incisors and the canines. The incisors are the teeth which are in the front, just before the canines. So what is diastema? It is the distance or the space or the separating gap between two different teeth. So we see in humans there is no diastema or gap or distance between incisors and canines, whereas in apes there is a small diastema or gap between the incisors and the canines. Then in humans, canines are not projecting, whereas canines are very sharply projecting in apes. Then we see that the body is covered with short and very rare hair, or very less hair in the human body, whereas in apes the body is covered with long and coarse hair. Then the last difference we see here in humans, they have the ability to make and use tools of various kinds for their benefit, and we can use our speech and written language to communicate with each other. Whereas apes lack both these abilities, neither can they make tools, proper tools, and neither they can write or they can use intelligent words to communicate with each other or with other humans. So children, we will continue with this chapter in the second video. So till then, children, study well. I'll be sending you the assignment for this soon. Thank you. Have a good day.